All right. Welcome, everybody. I've got a fantastic guest here. His name is Chris, and he runs a company called EpicStyle. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, Chris.
Hey everybody, I'm Chris with EpicStyle. Just me on this video, but I have three great other teammates that are part of this business, my family. First being my wife, Karen, and then our two kids, Desmond and Zariah. This journey started, I would say, 6 years ago in the making. Didn't know this was going to be part of the stop that we go on. Just started collecting different reptiles, going to shows, events, stuff like that, building our passion and excitement down that journey. Worked for the local reptile show in Kansas City that's been put on since '03 by Jason Cruz with Cold Blooded Expos. And through that, I kind of found my passion and what I really enjoyed, and kind of networking, meeting different people, seeing different animals. And that kind of took off, where figuring out this name for EpicStyle, should it be Why Not Reptile? Should it be EpicStyle? One time we had a name that was going to be nothing but what was it? NBA. Nothing but Awesome Reptile or something like that. Or I'm like, yeah, it's too close to NBA. I don't want the NBA to come after me or anything like that. Let's drop that and get out of here. But EpicStyle is it's a nice, strong name, I think. And then our motto, our hashtag that we always use is Why Not Reptiles? Why not this? Why not that? Why not reptiles? And so that leads us into we breed and raise all sorts of different animals. But then the biggest thing is just getting out in the community and sharing different pets that you can have, because we're one of the few families that actually don't have a cat or a dog in our household. So these show different pets that you can have, and the struggles, or the easier things that you can do. There's pros and cons to owning everything, and so just kind of knowing about that. And like, people always post that pets and dogs and cats are like a commitment. Reptiles are a commitment too. It's not just something you just kind of go into lightly. So getting out and doing shows, and sending people home with Siri, sorry. But but getting out and just showing people different pets, different options, but then starting that next generation of youth getting involved and going to events. And like you've done your events, you went to the library a couple weeks ago, or no, it was community center, library, something like that, where you went and shared that passion, and just you could see the excitement in those photos you showed. And you and I both know that kind of feeling when you're going through things, and how they kind of get excited when you bring things out, and that thing. We could talk all day about that, but that in the gist of it, raising, breeding reptiles, and just sharing our passion, education with any and everybody. That's our kind of motto here.
Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, like you said, it's amazing to see the kids light up when you bring out that next animal.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's funny. Like, it'll never get old. It's something that'll never get old. Like, when it gets old, it means you don't like it or enjoy it anymore. You hear like baseball players or sports people say that, oh, I don't have the love for the game anymore, or whatever. That's like, that'll be my key when I don't need to own a reptiles, when I don't have that excitement from sharing it or opening up tubs, cleaning things at home and stuff like that. So definitely. And just want to say thanks for having us on. Like, I'm excited for this conversation.
Oh, of course. We appreciate you guys coming on. It means a lot, because we're just trying to get our name out and connect with everybody, so we can all help each other out, because that's a big thing for us here at Atlas, is that we always want to push and help. Whatever we have, we want to help and push for other people. So
no, definitely. And I like that. I like what you say there. You want to, push, and you want to share that passion. You want to just sometimes it happens in all phases of life. Just, I notice sometimes, like in the reptile community, some people are kind of guarded or put up blinders or something like that, and we kind of block other people out. There's no Chris, there's no EpicStyle without a list full of people. And that list is always growing from different shows I attend, vending, or just going to hang out at like different NERBCs and stuff like that. There are countless of people that I can thank for just conversations and insight, and building my understanding and mantra of how I'm going to go about and do this reptile business for myself. And I always try to give back to people that are, breeding aspects, or, how do you do your program or things like that. I just want everybody to have fun and be successful at it. Cause that's the best part of it.
Absolutely, and I definitely believe that there's there's no losing in it. All it is the more we have, the better we're gonna be, and the better it's going to be. So like I don't view as like some like say you like me and you both do birthday parties, me and you both do all that different stuff.
Right.
I want to push you just as much as I want to. Yeah, I want to have events, but I want to make sure you have events too. I want to push people
Right.
towards.
No, definitely. If someone messaged me and like in the logistics of it, like, hey, um, Seth, I have this. I'm gonna send your information to Seth because actually you're a little bit closer, so it might be a little bit. Or hey, I'm booked up right now. I want to push. Like, I want to make sure that it's not just Chris and EpicStyle doing this. That it's a community type. We live in Kansas City. Kansas City is a big enough region that we both can be successful. I mean, there's Price Choppers, there's Hy-Vees, there's there's Casey's, there's Quick Trips, there's Conocos, there's all these things. There's more than enough avenues for us both to find success and be able to still spread our wings and do it our style and leave our reflection on people. And you know what? Like your show and my show, completely different. Why not book both of us and check it out? Like I bet we have several animals in common, but that's only because it's the same species. But I bet you they're not the same morph, not the same age, all these different things that you could go down and you could go check out different things. Like it's like the popular thing in movies to do is we're gonna dig up and remake Godzilla, or we're gonna remake Men in Black, or we're gonna remake this. Well, I mean, we're remaking things that we've seen in life that we enjoy and putting our own little spin on it. So let's go check out this movie. Oh, it was a great time. Oh, let's check out this one. It was a great time. Both Chris and Seth have great shows that they put on. So
Definitely. I say that's what I say about what I want to do with Atlas for our end goal is kind of a mixture of a lot of the people who have facilities right now. So like a mixture of the Reptarium from Michigan,
right. Oh,
mixture of snake discovery, the Chandler's Wildlife. So just a bunch of different people that have influenced me. I love different parts of what they do with their animals, and so I'm taking that and making it my own into what I want to do.
amen. No, that's basically kind of like the same kind of footprint that I kind of watching Brian Barczyk and him starting the Reptarium idea, and then like I love going to zoos and seeing their different reptiles here. I really wish Kansas City Zoo you had a bigger reptile section. Like it'd be amazing. But that's something, right? And so it'd be fun to have something like that or collab with someone in that nature, of doing that and seeing like Camp Kennan. You mentioned Chandler. There are just so many just so many different things out there on the webs that are like, man, that's really cool. And like, how can I use a piece of this that I like and bring it here to Kansas City? Because Kansas City truly doesn't have anything of that nature. And so just giving that option and that availability, if it's out there, then in the community here, then it's going to become more prevalent than before. And that would help, with reptile keeping going forward, and then just raising, like we were talking before we got on, about USARK a little bit, just raising that presence, so then that draws in more people and makes them more aware of those type of situations and that are going on. So strength in numbers, really. So
Well, where did EpicStyle start?
So started, so like I said earlier, we don't have any cats or dogs. So my oldest son, Desmond, he is now 11. When he was 5, we were kind of fishing around trying to figure out what kind of birthday gift to get him. Because mom and dad always got to have the best birthday gift for them. It can't be the worst birthday gift at the party. Always got to bring fire. So we were looking around and we're trying to find that perfect gift. We thought about getting some fire belly toads. We're like, oh, those would be really cool. And then we're like, you know what? We saw while we were at the pet store there, we saw like one of those like fish, like decorations you'd put in the tank or whatever, and his party was minion themed. So it was a sign painted yellow with two little googly eyes on it. And I'm like, oh, let's just get that, and let's go and to the pet store. Yeah, I know. I say pet store now. I'm like, oh, why would I go to the pet store? But anyways, like, let's go and like pick out a reptile. So we went and we gave him that. We went a couple days later after we got the tank all set up and stuff, and we actually picked out a bearded dragon. I don't know if you can see it in our sign. She's over here on the side. Her name's Kevin. When we got Kevin was like the size of my pinky. But fast forward, 18 months, 2 years, bearded dragon. She happened to lay some infertile eggs. I'm like, well, Kevin's not Kevin anymore. Well, Kevin's a girl. Well, it's still Kevin. Like, so we call it Kevin. Kevin Litos, Kevers. So that was the first reptile that we had owned as a family. When I was younger, I owned some knolls and some different things like that, or loved going down to my grandparents and going and checking out the creek and stuff like that, but didn't own any snakes or any of that type of stuff. And so we then fast forward like 4 or 5 months later, my wife had found the Cold-Blooded Expo show in Overland Park. And so we're like, we've been ordering crickets because, bearded dragons eat like crazy. And so, you can't have one. So we had 2 bearded dragons and keeping them house and stuff like that. So we went to the show. We're like, well, it'd be fun just to go check it out and have some fun. Which led us to, getting crickets for a larger quantity, seeing lots of different snakes and different reptiles that I'd never personally seen before. I'm like, man, this is really cool. A packed house. The funny story about that, though, I wish I still had the card. I wish I could find it. There was a group from Towanda, Kansas, just outside of Wichita. It was a father-son family, small family type thing, and they bred corn snakes. Well, they had these little things for a drawing that they were doing at noon and 2, and it was like win a free corn snake. So we entered it, went over there at noon. I didn't draw our name, but when I entered it, I didn't see the little slips of paper, and they had business cards sitting there. I'm like, man, you want me to put it on a business card? That seems kind of expensive. Like, you paid for this and yada, yada, yada. So I wrote my name, wrote my son's name on the back of it. My wife walks over, and of course she sees the little slivers of paper. And I'm like, oh, I just wasted their business cards. Whoopsie. So it's about 1:15. Once you've been at the show for a while, like, okay, it was our first show. We're like, okay, we've seen everything. We've walked around. Like, it's time to go. I'm like, well, hon, there's 45 minutes till that drawing. Like, let's wait and hang out and see, like, if we win or whatever. Let alone, I don't know what I'd do with a snake at the time. And so, we walk around again, maybe waste 20 minutes. Then we go and stand for another 15 over in the corner, kind of by the table, just kind of waiting it out. And people start gathering around and stuff, and they're announcing they're going to do the drawing. He shakes up the bucket. His granddaughter gets up on the table. She reaches in there, grabs one out, opens it up, and reads the name. And you got to be present to win. That was part of the qualifications. Read it out a couple times. No one showed up. So she reaches in again, grabs it out. As she's grabbing it out, I notice the business card. And I go, I wonder how many people use the business card to put their name in there. Like, this is going to be very interesting. So she pulls it out, opens it up, and the guy reads off Desmond. Desmond is our son's name. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And he goes stand right next, because we were a little closer. Wife's kind of in the back. And I'm like, oh my gosh, buddy, you won, And like, I wanted him to raise his hand. So it kind of took a second or whatever. I'm like, oh, they're getting up. I'm like, oh no, he's right here, So we walked up, and so we got crickets and some feeders. And then at the end of the show, we had a hustle to go over to Rodent Pro and buy some pinkies for this brand new corn snake that we ended up getting. So that was pretty wild. But fast forward, that was kind of how the original reptiles started coming into our house. And then the bug was kind of bit. I picked up a few more snakes. We started being a regular at the show. And then working with Jason at Cold-Blooded Expos. And that kind of like, I feel like I went to college, did all that fun stuff, got my degree in criminal justice. And I feel like then I went on an internship doing reptile stuff, going shows, setting up at shows, understanding, behind the scenes type stuff, what it takes to run a show, what it takes to work at the table. Just that mentality. I never would have when you're working a show, like you're selling things, or I wouldn't consider myself a salesman. I would never want to be a car salesman. That's like not in me and not something I could do. But it's funny, like when you're talking to people, like you're closing out deals and things like that. It's fun and it's exciting when, people are understanding what they're getting into and have the right information. And so after, going on my said internship for about 3.5 years with him, I realized it was time for me to, we'd already had conversations and trying to figure out what we wanted to do for our own self. It was time for me to step away from that and, put into this full time. So then that led us to, being able to take our own animals to the show. And then just it's exciting, just bringing that vibe, and then reaching out to different organizations around the city, or connections I made when I was in elementary school. Like I went back and I did just a little reptile show for some 4th grade teachers of mine, and showing that passion and bringing it out to kids, and just trying to be out in the community to be a part of it. Like you have your chamber of commerce and stuff like that. Like I'm an LLC, we're a business. I want to be a part of that vibe and that community. Yes, I have weird things that people might think of or whatever, but I mean, I'm not a painting person. Sure, and Williams is a local business. Let's have some fun and go from there. But no, that's kind of like how we started from the ground up there, and we still have a long ways to go. We have 2 different reptile rooms in our house, one for our geckos and our dragons, and then one for our snakes and stuff, where we kind of bounce back and forth. And there's almost no space in the house that doesn't have a reptile, almost, I guess. Like there's one upstairs and there's a couple down here. You might hear the tegus. The tegus are starting to wake up, so they're moving around their cages next to me. But no, it's a blast. Like I couldn't have asked for any better addiction in life. Like and the places it's gonna take me, and the people I'm gonna meet, and the people that are gonna we're gonna hop on each other's shoulders and just carry each other through the end. So, but that's a little bit. And then like you can check all this stuff out on our website. If you ever have any questions, you can personally message me if you want to learn more about the story. But no, that's about it. A little humble brag there. So
It's whynotreptiles.com, right?
yeah, the website is whynotreptiles.com. That is correct.
For sure,
So.
go check him out. So, so about how many animals do you have right now?
Man, you asking this question reminds me that I need to go through. I did a Boy Scout event a couple weeks ago, and the kids asked, and I was like, I haven't counted in a while. Probably got around at least 80. Okay, probably 80. I would say we have at least 80 reptiles in our house, at least. And I told them I'd go and count everything, and so I'll probably do that this week because I need to get it done. I'm actually going to write it down here on this notepad, so I can. Because I said I would email their scoutmaster back, and so he could let them know the next time they meet how many I got, because they were just kind of curious. And I said I really haven't counted. Like I should probably go do like we check everybody, but I don't count. There's just sometimes it just is so many things to count. But we have the species that we have some geckos, we have snakes, we have a black dragon, we have a couple tegus, we have a few colubrids, not too many. Kind of not, that's not my passion. My son really likes the colubrid section, but I don't want to steal his thunder. He's still young, still working on it. I want him to display that he can care for it and understand it properly before I kind of turn him loose. Kind of have a couple things already set up for him, and always keep an eye out to help him, because it'll be fun to watch him if he wants to do some breeding stuff. But yeah, so I would say 85. 85 is my final answer.
That's definitely, like, for us, that's a lot. Like, we have about 17, so
yeah.
But you guys also breed, so
right. No, definitely.
We're just now starting into kind of breeding. We're starting to breed leopard geckos. So
okay, right. Well, so I would say half of those, or half of that number though, because it's not 85 different species. So I don't want to sound like I have just this crazy amount. So it's 85 total animals probably, and half of that is Leachianus. Like I would say half of that's Leachianus. There's a good portion that's some tortoises. My ball python collection, that's kind of what first got me into it. But over the last couple of years, I've kind of been shrinking that. I just couldn't ever. You want to find, to anybody who watches this that's not a current reptile owner, or you do want to become like a breeder of that fashion, find that passion and that drive that you really like and care about. It took me a little bit to find the ball python section. Like that's what I went with because everybody was doing it. And I don't get me wrong, I enjoy them. All the different, I call them paint jobs when we do shows. All the different morphs and stuff like that are really cool, and it's fun having that, putting your scientist hat on and messing with the genetics and seeing what you can make. But at the end of the day, I enjoy it. It's fun, but I came across Leachies from a local friend of mine, Connor. He's with Reptizilla, and that bug bit me and has taken off like none other. So I'm just happy I found my niche and my passion for the animal that I really, really like and truly enjoy in that section.
Yeah, that's awesome. First, I have to say, you kind of just said it very nonchalantly that you have a black dragon. First off, everybody that I see that you make a post about him, everybody blows up about it. They all want it.
I'm hoping that I think the May Cold Blooded Expo show on May 15th. Okay. I think I'm gonna bring him to the show. Okay. He's a little over a year now. He's probably 40 inches long. His name's Arlie. Puppy dog tame. Like I'll stick my hand in it, he'll walk right out. Usually when I hold him now, though, I'm wearing a sweatshirt and gloves. So it'll be interesting this summer because I'll be out. I'll have him out and I'll have a sweatshirt. He doesn't mean to hurt his claw. He got meat hooks. Like he's a predator. Like and you can see him thinking, and you can see him, doing his thing in his cage or when he's out walking. Like he walks with this strut. Like, hey, I'm the best thing around. Like, and he's basically our third kid. Like he's upstairs in the front room. That's his place, and he'll always have a front room space as long as there's space for him and stuff like that. Whether his enclosure then becomes like a TV stand, but I just want him to be able to have that interaction. Always like see that environment. Like we're working on him slowly. Just like I'm personally a favorite just because I work with him the most. So like when he's on my wife, he'll always walk across my wife, be on her for a bit, and then walk back over to me when he's elevated off the ground. But he can walk around the front room. We've been doing that a lot lately, just so like to give him some time to explore and kind of. So he's still kind of small enough where he can maybe wedge himself under a door, like in a closet or like under the couch. Like I kind of follow him around, but he's really not. He gets a little skittish every once in a while, but I mean, I'm a lot bigger than standing over, but he does really well walking around and stuff. That was a fun purchase. Like it went to NARBC, talked to a guy named Craig, and I joked around when I was driving down. I was like, well, what if I see a black dragon? Like I would really like that. And it just happened to work out. Perfect time, perfect place. Had a good friend of mine, Brian, go over and check him out. He was visiting the show with Manhattan Reptile Planet, and he does a lot of monitor work. And so and Kanoa was there too. I think Kanoa actually picked up like another green tree monitor, or a blue. No, it was a blue tail. That's what it was. I think he picked up a blue tail that day because we were going back and forth. He's like, "Oh, should I pick this up or should it?" But they both went over and looked at it because this I've kept tegus, but I'd never kept a monitor, and so it was a new element, a new phase. I'd done a lot of research and understanding, but I was like, okay, I think I'm ready for this commitment. And they both went over, checked it out. It looked like it said it's not shy. He's up walking around. He's not skittish. He looks, very healthy, hydrated. And I was like, so then I went over, opened the cage up, checked it out for a bit. He wasn't fully warmed up, but he wasn't like a cold animal. Like people want to say animals are cold sometimes at shows or whatever. He wasn't like, he was awake and aware. He walked out, checked me out a bit, went back in. I'm like, all right, let's do this deal.
Yeah, he had a white throat at the show that we met you at.
Okay.
He had a white throat, and I was like, if I had the money, it would have been mine.
So I've set up at NERBC St. Louis with another guest who had on Nick Papa with Apex Mutations. Me and him went to NERBC St. Louis. It was the second time the show's ever been held there, so it's a growing process. It was a fun weekend just to be, I went to a couple shows beforehand in Arlington and Tinley to then have a table there, being like, oh hey, look at some of the stuff I have, you know. But there was a guy that had some black throats there, and me and Kanoa were like tempted to like go and like, oh, like you could get one, I could get one, and then we could just be like the Black Throat Brothers or something like that, and trying to figure this out. And then we're like, you know what, let's chill, let's wait, let's figure this process out. I'm like, this thing's gonna grow. I only have so much room right now, and that's the big thing, is being responsible, and that having that thought process kick in to be like, oh wait, let's not do this. Like getting a snake is different because I have like endless rack space,
Right.
but getting a lizard monitor, something that needs your UVB and its space, is completely different. Like
For sure. That's what we like for a while. We like got a few lizards and then we stopped getting lizards and we're just getting snakes over and over again because we were like, this is easy. There's
yeah, no, it is. And snakes, like when I go to parties and stuff, and people are like, like people are like, oh, I don't like snakes, or snakes this or whatever. I'm like, well, I mean, you feed it once a week, check its water, at least every day or every other day. You can be gone for 4 or 5 days and be all right. Like your dog has to go out, or somebody has to come. I don't have to. Hey Seth, could you come over and let my snake out? Like, and
right.
so. But yeah, no, and that's like going to shows and like vending them and stuff like that. Like my biggest thing, my big thing for this year is like, we're a small business, so I want to make sure the hardest is like the first couple of years for small businesses or whatever they say. But I just want to make sure that I go about it the right way, because I don't want to be a flash in the pan. I want to be, I can look back and see my progression each year, and see 5 years, 10 years that I'm still around. Maybe I don't make it as big as I want to make it, but I'm still locally here in Kansas City, being active in the community, or seeing what we've built in the community, or and still going to shows, vending them, doing educational stuff. And so I got to make sure I reel myself in on sometimes it's a good purchase is not always a good purchase.
Right.
And so end of the day, you want to make sure that you're making smart decisions for yourself and for your business, that you can sustain that longevity and that curve riding it up and stuff like that. It's great. I bought me a Bell's lace monitor or something like that. But 3 months later, I'm posting it on the reptile group for sale, or
Right.
and that's why I don't want to jump into, like, I'd love to do a reptarium thing here in Kansas City, but it's not physically possible for me right now. Like, I don't like this is my job. My wife helps out a lot with it. She's a big factor of it. She has her own 9 to 5 that she works personally. But hopefully one day, through our passion and dedication, that's something that we're able to provide or get to make it to that level. But I just want to do it the right way, so it's not, I have a reptarium for 3 months, and 3 months, and then 3 months down the road it's all gone. Like, what's that for? Like, it would suck, and that would really drain my my joy. Like, I'd be on cloud 9, and then all of a sudden dissipates, and it just drops. Yeah, exactly. And so it would just suck. And how do you recover from that? How do you get back into, once you, like, my black dragon, I'm going to have that forever. I'm not going to sell that off. Like, there's no chance that it's ever leaving me. Like, there was a guy last show, I think it was after I talked to you and you stopped by, he was asking about black dragons, and I was like, oh, I got one. Here's a sticker, by the way. And he's like, oh, how much is that? How much is that worth? How much should you sell that for? I'm like, it's not for sale. Like, not like, like, I can't, man. Like, that Arlie's like it's us. Like, it's part of our thing. So.
Right. I mean, if you did, you have Nick who wants it. You have there's so many people who comments on your posts. It's like, man, I want that black dragon.
I don't really, I try not to share it. I'll share them every once in a while. I just don't, I don't know. Like, I don't want to, like, I try to stay humble and not like, not everybody has different situations. It worked. I was in the right place, right time for me to get that dragon. And so it's not something, and I don't want to, I'm not trying to be, I mean, everybody wants to be some sort of famous to some extent or whatever, I guess. But I don't want to use that to promote my like, oh, look, I got a black dragon or black dragon this or black dragon that or black dragon this or black dragon that. Like, I just want to, I enjoy it. What's the word I'm looking for? Organically, like it just
Right.
happen and be just the process of having fun and sharing light and stuff like that. So
Right. I totally understand that. I mean, that's where we are. Um, we're wanting, like I said, open. We're wanting to get our end. My end goal as of right now is to get a property, a 10-acre property that I
oh,
can
that's cool.
build a big building where I can have, um, I can have raptors, so birds of prey, where people can
Hmm.
fly them.
That's cool.
Just because I know that that's another thing that a lot of people don't understand.
No, mm-mm.
They don't learn about a lot, and that's another big thing for me. So,
It's not something that's popular in this area. Like, I don't
right,
know. I could be wrong. Maybe there's a group of people that deal with that, and I just haven't came across it. But I remember there was a book when I was younger that I bought from like the book fair or something like that. I was probably in like it had to be I was like fourth or fifth grade, and it was like raptors and birds and the whole little letting them go and them coming back and
falconry.
people do research on them and stuff and like it's really neat. There was a guy. I don't know if you've been to Arlington, the NARBC in Arlington, or not. There's a group. They're usually set up in the back, and they talk a lot about that. And they have like owls that they bring and stuff. They're just chilling out on their perches and
Wow.
stuff. And but it's really cool. Like that. Like not something that I would want to do myself personally. Mm, it would be fun to know somebody where I could go and hang out and watch them do it and kind of understand it because like that's a whole that they're just a predator of the sky or like my favorite predator of that sort I would say is like the golden eagle. Like those things are massively huge. In college we watched videos on YouTube of them just plucking like mountain goats or sheep off the side like no
Yep.
problem.
Yep. For sure. Yeah, they're freaking awesome. And for me, my passion, like how you were saying that you were able to find that passion with specific species and stuff like that. For me, is my passion when it comes to animals in general is animal behavior. I love spending time and like learning their behavior and working with them and gaining behaviors that go through like when it comes to like monitors. Like you have to work with their behaviors to get the behaviors that you want.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And so
That's a
we have a Nile monitor, and so that's something that we've been working with
oh,
since he
that's
was.
sweet. That's cool. That's gonna get massively big. That's so cool.
Oh, he's about 3.5 foot right now. So
Sweet. That's
he
cool. What's his name?
his name is Killian.
Oh, cool. I like that name.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Uh, we named him after a lot of our animals are all named after like things that we really enjoy,
Uh-huh.
like that. So he's named after Captain Hook from the Once Upon a Time show.
Okay.
So the character, his like the real name of Captain Hook was Killian,
Okay.
and he was like the character that we really enjoyed out of that show. And so
That's cool.
yeah, so we got him, and he's fantastic. But I want to get another monitor. But I also have to, like we talked about, making the right decision, even though it might be a good decision.
Right.
Somebody
Yeah,
was
no.
getting rid of an Argus monitor, and I really wanted it, but also it's like I could use
Right.
that money for a enclosure for my retic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no.
So
Like that's the hard part. Like you could have like someone's like, oh, I'll you get a great deal on something you're looking for, and you're like, well, where am I going to put that at? How am I going to do this? Where's it going to go?
right,
If I spend X amount of dollars on this, what am I then putting off or whatever? And so it's a continual cycle that you just can't say you can't impulsively say yes. I mean, I'll say like when I first got into this, I said impulsively yes, and that was before like I just started getting snakes, and that's kind of I would just say, oh, that's a good deal, I'll do that, or I'll get this, and so my ball python collection ended up from all sorts of different things in it that which had no rhyme or reason. So, but
but yeah, and so I would love to have a lot of different opportunities where like I want to work with alligators or crocodilians, and I would love to have that in our facility because like I'm pretty sure I don't know I would like to actually talk with maybe the managers or whatever of our zoos here in Kansas. So like the Topeka Zoo, the Kansas City Zoo,
Yeah.
and like the Wichita zoos and stuff like that to see if
Hmm.
they are an AZA because I know with AZAs they don't allow the workers to actually touch the animals and actually like interact with the animals.
Right.
And so like I think I think they would get a lot more attracted. Like people would come to there more if they were able to actually interact with the animals. If people were
Right.
able
No, that's a big thing. Yeah, no, definitely.
Right. So if people were able to say like somebody like a zookeeper had an owl or a vulture or something on their arm with their dresses on and everything like that in their hands to keep them from like of course flying away or anything like
Right.
that.
Yeah. Of course.
But then just walking around the zoo where people could like pet it, um, and then learn some things about it, just because that gets people's attention really, really well when they're face to face.
It does. It draws you in if that animal's physically out and being held. You may not be touching it right then and there, but if some like we went to the San Diego Zoo, 2016, and literally we walked in, and about 20 yards from us, maybe there was a big thing on a stage. Not a big thing, but it was like a bunch of people were gathered around it, and the zookeeper had a sloth out on her talking about all these things. I was like, oh well, I gotta go over here because I gotta see this thing up close, out of its its enclosure and stuff like that. And it was cool. Like you draw so much more attention, you draw some more eyes to it and stuff like that. You were speaking about crocodilians earlier. I thought it was. I'm interested to see how the Kansas City Zoo is getting alligators.
Yep.
So I'm excited to see how their enclosure and all that stuff's going to be done at the zoo. And the zoo's made some really great strides here locally. Like I like the direction with the penguins and all the new updates that they're doing and stuff. So that's exciting to see locally. So
Yeah. My biggest thing is there's a part of me that wishes that they would update their snake room because unfortunately, like they have a Burmese python that's probably a good 13, 14 feet that is in a tiny ass enclosure, and
it's probably small. Like it's a little bit taller than my T25s, their
Yeah.
enclosure, but my T25 is a 6-foot animal plastic cage. I'd probably say that the T25 is longer than it. I don't think it could be wrong. It's been a little bit since I've been to the zoo. I do have a coupon to go for the free day at the zoo in April or whatever that I'll go check it out and stuff like that again. Have you been to the St. Louis Zoo?
No. So I've been to the Omaha Zoo.
Okay.
To, of course, our two Topeka and Kansas City Zoo.
Okay.
I want to go to the one in Wichita.
Okay.
I tried to go to the St. Louis Zoo, but I didn't know you had to, like, at the time, because it was, I think, 2020, 2021.
Oh, during this gray area of, like, reserving your time and stuff?
Yeah, you had to reserve your time. I didn't know that, because we were at the Midwest Venom Fest, and everybody, we didn't know we had to pay for both days. So I paid for one day, and I thought it was just a 2-day event. You paid
for it, and then you're good. Like, yeah, no, makes sense.
Didn't know that was not the case. So we came in for the second day, and they were like, "Well, it's this. This is what you have to pay for it." So we were like, "Okay, well, what can we do?" And they were like, "Well, we suggest go to the St. Louis Zoo. It's fantastic. Go see it.
It's free and free parking. Like park on the street. Like don't get suckered into. The first time we got suckered into a meter, and then I was walking past it. I'm like, that's a free spot. I'm like, I just paid for a paid spot. Dang it. Oh well.
Right. So we drove all the way to the St. Louis Zoo. We got there, and they were like, "Did you reserve your spot?" And we said, "No, we didn't know we had to." And they were like, "Oh yeah, we have to. You have to reserve your spots." And I was like,
"That's a bummer."
Yeah. So then we hopped in the car and we drove back to the show, paid for the show, and that's how we ended up getting our Tegu.
Oh, that's kind of worked out then.
Like, yeah, kind of. So
it's
definitely something we want to go do.
Yeah. So and I mean, yeah. So definitely when you get some time to go down there, because their their herpetoculture area or whatever is like it's fun. Like I made like I think like 2.5, 3 laps in there just checking it all out. Like it blows Cancy out of the water. And then the Reptile Dome in Omaha is really awesome. That's really fun there. I've been to the Wichita Zoo. I haven't been in a long time. It was probably like 2016 or 17 or something like that. Probably like 15. I don't remember. It's been a while, so I don't recall. Only thing I remember is that a dang goose was chasing us around for the first part of the day. We went to like, you enter the zoo and like off to the right is like the petting zoo section or whatever. And we were leaving there, going across the bridge into the rest of the zoo. And this dang goose like followed us like, I mean, literally like a quarter of a mile, like get out, like take some bread and get out of here. Nope. And then the San Diego Zoo, I remember that one just because I was starting to been watching a lot of videos and kind of really getting into it. And they had some really great exhibits. Just part of the thing was being renovated, so you couldn't see everything, or some things were off display and stuff like that, which was kind of a bummer. But no, it was all definitely a fun experience. And then I always feel that green tree that's all the way down in the Australia section of the Kansas City Zoo. I was like, oh, that's my favorite. Like, like that's when I first got into this, that was my favorite snake. Like that's probably still is my favorite snake. I love them. They're have one named Beetlejuice. I love that the babies are, depending on the locale and stuff like that, some will come out red, or some of the neonates will come out yellow. Usually it's more yellow, but those red ones are really cool. If you get on like Instagram or start looking it up, like some of the designer stuff that people are doing are ridiculously cool and crazy. I would love to one day have like on the sides of my TV or whatever, like a green neonate and a red neonate, just set them up and just watch them grow up and like just go through their color transformations and stuff like that as they shed out. What's your favorite snake? Since I just gave mine away.
Favorite snake, just overall, or like
I don't know, I would see like green trees are a person like I get them like seeing them and I enjoy it. Like I just have a lot of enjoyment, or like finding people on Instagram or watching videos and stuff of people that breed and work with them as well.
So for my snakes, I love retics. Retics are
okay. Right on.
They're just, I think it's just crazy how a snake just gets that big. I mean, for me, like around here, the biggest we get maybe 8 foot.
Yeah,
that's our Western rat snakes. So that's what I like.
Right.
I was like, that's a big snake, and then learning that snakes could get so much bigger, which is fantastic. And so I would say that, or either a gaboon or a gaboon rhino mixture. Specifically, Chandler's mixture is gorgeous. Like it has the body of a gaboon, but the pattern looks like a rhino, and it's just
definitely. If I was gonna go like venomous species, I would rhino would be my rhino or gaboon. I'd probably go rhino in that aspect. I don't know if I'll ever own anything like that. I just have to be 100% every time, and I'd have to have protocols and things that phone has to be here, somebody has to be home, or that while I'm in there, that if something goes wrong or something like that. And then just my kids love going down. My daughter, her favorite reptiles are snakes. Like she's 4, and it's not like I'll hand her like a hatchling, or I'll hand her like a juvenile or something like that. Well, she knows which racks and which tubs have bigger snakes, and she's like, no, I want that snake, Dad. And so we'll get out a bigger ball python, and then enjoy that, or get out a carpet. I just got my first retic last June. Okay. So I finally wanted to have a snake that could get massively big. It took a little bit of me, doing research, watching videos, understanding, because they sometimes get a bad rap.
Yes.
But I mean, it's not their fault. It's just how they're portrayed and how things kind of just, I mean, kind of get set up for them or whatever. But so I wanted to find, I got it from Chris from New Shed Serpents out of Oklahoma. I was at the Tulsa show, and it's a golden child female. So it has that nice iridescent oil slick look to it. No motley, so it's not like black like Jay's or anything like that. But but she's cool. She's probably, I'd say she's good. She's a good 4 foot, 4.5 maybe right now. Nothing crazy. I kind of feed her slow. I don't want her to
Absolutely.
take off crazy, anything like that. Cause like the other part of that is like, I got to start thinking of enclosure and where she's going to go next, because I did have an open enclosure. I mentioned I had 2 tegus. I had an extra T25 open that I was saving because I wanted to find a bigger snake for our programs. But the problem is finding a bigger snake is taking someone's word that it's definitely good and it's going to be handleable. So I didn't want to fall down the path of it not being used to that, and like it wouldn't be something I would get it and it would go right to a show. Like obviously I'd work with a lot before like I was telling you at the show, make sure you feel comfortable with whatever animals you're taking out to your educational shows, birthday parties, that you're comfortable and you're good with it. And that goes back to your animal behavior type thing, and that's a big thing. And all animals have, it may be a small behavior that they display, and some animals show like a big behavior where you can kind of read them and understand them and stuff like that. And that I enjoy that part too. But just being able to read it and understand it, I didn't want to fall in that line to where I gave my brand and my name and something bad happened while we were out, just because I didn't take I took someone's opinion and rushed it out or something like that. So what, I'm just gonna grow things up slow, and I'll get me a baby. I'll grow it up. It's gonna get handled a lot. It's gonna be with my kid. It's gonna be with me. It's gonna go to events. It's gonna get used to it. And everyone, it's like I have bad days. Like I can open the drawer. I can see like, oh, you don't want to be you. I'll tap you. I'll tap you with the hook. I'll check you out for a second, and then you let me know if you pop up and you look at me for a bit. It's all I can get you out. If not, it's not gonna, like, I'll let you be. Like, there's no sense to force it. And then just recently at this last show, I picked up a pearl Burmese python. So now I have a berm, and she'll be 2 this June, I believe. It was just a gentleman, local guy sitting across from us at the show. His name's Chris. I can't think of what his business name is. He didn't have a sign or anything like that, but they had some tegus over there. They had some colubrids, and they had a couple berms and stuff like that. And I've seen him at the show several times. So it was someone I knew and I trusted. Looked great. And then I had a friend. I don't know if you know Cody and Elizabeth locally. They do a lot of like rats and stuff like that. Hamilton, I think, is Cody's last name. They post a lot of time about getting like people doing feeders for people and stuff.
What you're talking about?
You might have seen the name just in one of the groups or whatever. But they had bought a berm from him and stuff, and they knew I was kind of looking for one just to have another snake, something that would get a little bit bigger in that fashion. And so her name, we haven't posted it on our social media, so you're getting the first drop for that one. Her name is Peaches. But yeah, no, it's exciting.
So
oh, hey, there we go.
This is our girl, Artie.
Oh, Artie, I like that name.
She is about 10 foot long.
Oh, sweet.
And she's about almost 2 years old.
That's nice. That's cool.
Yeah, so we got her from actually a breeder. His name is Conrad Morris.
I know Conrad.
Yeah.
So, he lives out by me, kind of.
Yeah, so maybe very active, but he works with his reticks right out of the egg.
Yeah.
And so we got her after, like, only a couple months after she was born. She was born in July of 2020. And so because of that, she was already pretty chill.
Yeah.
And then um, once we got her, we took her and we just started to consistently work with her. And so I love showing kids that I can like touch her face.
They're such a thinker. Like they're such a smart. Like
Like,
for some people, kind of discount snakes as being smart, and like I just like the fact that they're always going, always once they're out, they're inquisitive. You can see that process when they're
right,
they're flicking their tongue out. They're thinking about what's going on. They're checking out their surroundings and going through it, and just kind of adventuring around. Like she's just going through your hands right now, enjoying herself, and I love that. No, I don't have any. I don't have one that bad. I don't have a 10-foot snake yet, but I can't wait.
Hey,
I can't wait till ours get big. In that aspect of it, because I mean it's just fun. Like our biggest snake that we have, I have a Central American boa. She's probably like 5.5, maybe 6 when she's full. If you can get her stretched out all the way, I got her from Brandon's Bugs. She's an anery, so she's a nice black, nice iridescence on her. And so that's our biggest snake that we have. And check back in like 6 months because things grow like weeds or whatever.
oh, absolutely.
But one of my favorite projects that I'm working on, since you brought out a snake, I guess I want to bring out a snake. So this here is Chili. Chili is a Dumerals boa.
Oh,
So hopefully this year I'm gonna find a male. If not this year, maybe next year. Because she's a female. I'd love to at least get at least a clutch. Because as boas are live bearers.
yeah.
So everything I have, except for the hedgehogs, we don't breed hedgehogs. Everything that we have lays eggs,
Yeah.
and so you incubator or incubation time and stuff like that. So just to be able to witness that and market, like just like kind of check it off your list or whatever. I got her from I think it's first name's Matt, last name I think his last name's Fry. I think he's out of Topeka. You probably ran across him a couple times at shows. Actually, I think he was next to you when we were talking back and forth. Like I would talk to him for a second, then I'd talk to you.
Okay.
Um, and so, but her name's Chili. She's pretty cool, pretty chill. But she's a Dumerals ground boa, so she's gonna get 8 foot, 9 foot, eventually one day. I love the camera doesn't pick up the iridescence that she has, but
Right.
her little peach blushing and stuff like that. Makes the Dumerals one of my favorite species.
Yeah, that's really cool. But yeah, I she like if you brought Arlie with you to any of your shows, I guarantee you she's aw. uh, he's probably probably was like a huge when you bring them out, all the kids are probably like, oh my god.
Oh, and that's so. Like I said, if I want, like, I want to make sure that he's comfortable. Like I think he's getting better. Where he like when I've taken him to one show. He was kind of like one show that we did. Me and my wife went. I was like, okay, since you're going, because usually it's me and my son that goes, and she'll stay home with our daughter. But my sister was in town, so she came to one of our shows that we did, and I was like, I'm gonna take Arlie. Probably rushed him a little bit. He was a little like he was quick and kind of not sure of himself. And so it was cool to share him, but it probably looked a little sloppy, I will say. And so I didn't like that feeling that I had in my mind of how it possibly looked. Like I'm sure they didn't care, but in my mind, it was something that I reflected on. And he's bigger now. I have my dog kennel that I take my tegus in. I take my tegus in when we go to parties and stuff. I'd probably take him in that and set him up like behind the table or something. And maybe I could get with Jason, or maybe if I set up at Mickey's show, maybe doing like just have like a sec where I can go like in the hallway or a spot. Maybe I can just like where it's not like directly like around the table, so people can still access the walkways and things like that. So it's not a big thing, but it gives people space and like the ability to kind of see it up close in person instead of from afar. But this is Espen. Espen is one of our Leachianas here. Still looking for a male for her. She's one of our few that we don't have paired up. We have about 9. We have 9 pairs this year. That's 6 new ones. We had 3 last year going through. but they're just like moldy croissants, basically, is what I see them as, kind of. She has some nice red and pink blemishes in her. And for those that don't know, Leachianis are one of the largest living geckos still in existence. So it's crazy. They'll start out the size of your pinky, and then, and this is just an island locale. I have one. He's paired up, so I don't try to break up my pairs too much or bring him out and like individually show him. Like I'll never take a pair to a show, but he's probably a good 340 grams. That's pretty massive for a gecko. Like, let's see, but no, those guys there, those are fun. The Pangea, I only feed Pangea to them. I tried to like do like roaches and crickets when I first got my first couple ones. It didn't seem to have too much interest, and looking online and talking to people, it's always a mixed review and stuff on something. So I just decided, you know what, like the Pangea diet's made for their benefit and for their enjoyment, that it works out pretty well. I kind of do a mixture of flavors, so that just in case Pangea decides, hey, we're not going to make watermelon anymore, all my geckos just aren't used to watermelon. Like sometimes they get picky or whatever, but it's like I wouldn't know I would be lost at what I would do if it's like, oh my gosh, I only feed watermelon. Like what am I going to do? How am I going to supplement that in that aspect? Another favorite reptile of mine that I'd say it's probably my third. I would say I would go Leachianis, I would go green tree python, and then this next one here is Buster's. Buster's is our red-footed tortoise. I love tortoises. Kanoa probably got me beat in that passion and love for tortoises. I'll give him that. Kanoa is my guy that I go to if I ever have a question I'm not sure of or whatever, or not 100% on somebody reaches out to me. Like I tell people like at the show, like, hey, you buy an animal from me, or like when I go to parties, you get an animal, you're looking for an animal. If it's something that I don't have, I can send you in the right direction. Or if you pick up an animal from somewhere else, I don't care. If you have a question, because sometimes people aren't great at getting back to people when they have questions. And I wish that's one thing that the community could grow and get better at, is being there and standing by their product. Just answer the question. Take the L. Like it's unfortunate. It's sad. Like it sucks to like you may have did something wrong or something wasn't exactly right or whatever. Just own up. Take the L. Like there's nothing worse than a customer trying to find out information through like a social media post on a group and stuff, like, oh, well, the breeder told me it was this, what do you think it is, or I haven't heard from I pain for seeing those posts, because it's like how, like, I just couldn't imagine leaving my customers or my people in the dust like that. It just wouldn't set right with my personality. But I tell people all the time, like, if you get something from somebody else and you don't have a response, or you don't, like, feel free to reach out. Like, here's my card, ask me any question. Like if I don't know the answer, I have several different outlets and networks that I have a customer that, like, I had somebody ask about, I haven't kept leopards. I'd love to keep leopards. The next, not next on my list, but I'd like to keep them one day. But I reached out to Kanoa. I was like, hey, here's what's going on. Here's what they say. I don't know the whole breakdown for leopards and stuff like that. What's your thoughts, suggestions? And he got back to me, and I just passed the information along to him, and it worked out seamlessly. Like,
yeah, I said that's what we try to push for, is like that full on community. I want to have like everybody be able to help each other out.
Yeah. What's something you don't own right now that you want to own or hopefully own sometime, like like next like 10 years or whatever? Like,
what I want to own and hope to own.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
my favorite animal, like my favorite reptile in all existence.
I write this down, taking notes.
That is pretty, like, I don't think I'll ever be able to get to do it, but I have hopes for it. Is a Parenti monitor.
Okay.
So I think they're gorgeous, and
I'll have to look that up. I'm not super monitor guy. I've heard the name before, but I'll have to look it up just to see what it like to get the under the feel and the understanding. Because I mean, there's so like there's so many different types of species. Like when I first started, like I liked the peach throats and I liked the quince monitors and stuff like that. And then that just kind of took off from there on how it did. But that's cool. So I'll look that up and see how cool those are.
They're white. I say the Omaha Zoo has them. Has them,
Okay.
pretty sure. So they are white with like a black, black like kind of octagonal patterning over like
Okay.
over their
Uh-huh.
heads at least, and then their back kind of looks like you take a say like a Nile monitor's pattern,
Okay.
and then just instead of get rid of the like yellow and like the greens in it, and just
Hmm.
it's white and black.
Oh, huh. That's pretty sweet. Like,
Yeah.
that's cool. You drew me at the white part. Because like I've seen some like albino type monitors. I was scrolling through like Facebook or something like that, and it was like a the reptile channel or whatever, how they put up the posts or whatever,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
someone had shared a post from like 3 or 4 years ago, and it looked like an Asian water monitor, except for it was like leucistic and it was all white. I'm like, that's really cool.
It's
Like,
kind of like a Parenti. Parenti looks like it, but they're not as wide. So they're very athletic looking. So they're kind
okay,
of like comparative to a like let's say tiger to a like panther. How like
uh-huh,
a panther is a lot more sleek looking.
yeah,
Tiger is
definitely,
more robust.
yeah. No, I follow you on that. I follow you on that. No,
So
that's cool. Well, if you don't get the chance to own it, hopefully you get the chance to at least like be able to work with it or go to somewhere to be able to be like have a hands-on experience
right.
and that nature, because that would just be, you'd put you through the roof there
Oh,
uh,
absolutely.
for
That's
that type of feeling. Let's see, for me, um um let's see, I have an alligator already. I would love to have like an albino or a melanistic. That'd be kind of cool. Um, but I think the next big purchase that I want to save up for and do um, is I want Aldabra.
okay.
That's I envy Kanoa, and I love you, man. You're if you ever get some babies from some Aldabras, definitely I would love to get them from him. But I have a friend that's in Austin that I met through NERBC there that works with them. And then there's a place on Instagram I see all the time. It's like Florida Tortoise something or whatever. They do really good work, I hear, and it's like a really good reputable place to buy them from. That you're not just getting a hatchling. Like, yeah, they're expensive, but in that case, but I want something bigger. I couldn't get one that's like, yay big.
Right.
I want one that's probably like this big already. Like, because I want to, yeah, it'll be fun to watch it grow up, but I want to see it when it's big. Like, I'm not. That's gonna be my kids and my grandkids that see it when it's like massively ridiculous. Like, and so it goes back to what you're saying earlier. Like we live in town right now, and so I want to have some space and have some land and be able to have great outside enclosures. Like our sulcata that we have, he gets to run in the middle of the backyard during the summer. Our redfoots, they have a little pinned off section where they get their own little back section of heaven in the backyard during the summer. I'm actually working on doing an enclosure for our younger tortoises this year so they can be outside more. Like, I haven't I've wanted to do it. I've just been kind of leery, but I'm going to make sure that nothing's going to be able to get. They'll come in every night. I'll take them out in the morning and stuff. But I've been going to Menards and making a list of stuff and trying to figure out where exactly in the backyard I kind of want to put it so they can get enough sunshine, enough shade, and then just have a good well-rounded habitat for them, because ain't nothing better than natural sunlight for reptiles, and that's one thing, a big thing. So that we were talking about, just education and understanding, and when I go to parties and events and stuff, like I'll break down, depending on the age group, you kind of go through the understanding of how much it can, like, do you need UVB, do you need this, and UVB and calcium is so important, and so it's sad when you see dragons, or I think of dragons first because that's what kind of where we started, and we still do those, but it can happen in leopard geckos. It can happen with all sorts of different reptiles. Calcium deficiencies where you get your NDD, and not having the proper lighting. Those things need to be changed like every 6 months. Like it just you go wait too long for you see it still illuminating and you don't actually look at the bulb, and the bulb just like has little black specks on it and breaking down. And but that just like in nature, MBD does not happen. Like that is a man-made disease that unfortunately like plagues our reptile community, that I don't know how you keep bringing that to the forefront, or how do you make it something that doesn't happen as often. That's one thing that just when I think about what things could we do better as a community, that's one thing that kind of just sticks out to me a lot. Or just be aware and be cognizant of what you're buying. Like no, like iguanas. I've sold iguanas to people that probably don't need iguanas when I was younger. Like they take a lot of work and a lot of dedication. I make sure to stress that out with anybody who's buying any sort of animal from me, whether it's now through EpicStyle. I only carry select certain things that I would want to keep personally, or that I would trust, other people wanting to keep. Not really like your convenience store, stop shop type thing or whatever. But no, it's just do your research and your understanding, because then we end up with crazy things that happen, like US Arc and bills coming through that are trying to this is people's livelihood. Like it's not like it's not hidden. Like we're a big business, a group of people that this could affect tremendously. Like I couldn't imagine. I could only do shows in Missouri. Like I couldn't take anything outside the state, or I'd be committing I don't know if they got like border police or something like that. It's going to start cracking down on me or something like that. But I mean, you could follow through my social media or something and find out things that I'm doing wrong or whatever, if that was to pass. And so, so just being aware of it and understanding it and just seeing alerts, sign up for it. And it's real simple. Like US Arc makes it real easy that you can go and they already have a drafted template for you. You just have to change out, insert sender's name here, insert your name, and then send it on its way. Like it's a great system that they have, and they don't get enough credit for what they do and all the auction stuff that money's raised for, and all the work that they put in. Like I'm sure it's countless hours and stuff like that. Like I couldn't imagine waking up with their to-do list or their notification screen,
Right.
For that to happen. So
I mean, they the people that they fight against, I think it's like just their news, like their newspaper amount, like their allotted amount of money. I think they said it was like almost 2 times more than what US Art's entire budget is for everything.
oh my gosh, wow.
So it just shows you how much of a deficit that they're at already.
Mm-hmm.
But then on top of it, there's several reptile community pages that are over 100,000 members in it, and yet US Arc only has 7,000 members.
No, that's very true. Yeah, no,
That's definitely something here at Atlas we like to push. We always want to make sure people are supporting, because once it hits the reptiles, then what's next? It's going to be dogs and cats. Like
yeah, no, I mean it's not just it's people. It sucks. Like I'm not gonna get on the whole government, anti-government type discussion. I don't care. Like you stay out of my life, I stay out of your life. Like I really don't care. Like me and the government or whatever Uncle Sam wants to do usually doesn't affect Chris. Doesn't usually affect Seth. Like, but like being sneaky and sliding things in on certain sections and stuff like that, or like let states regulate like their state laws. Like you can't in the state of Missouri, like it's once like my alligator gets over 8 foot, I have to have a zoological license or I have to get rid of it. Like I already have a plan in place from the person I got it to and that was the reason I got it, because I could easily be, once it gets to that size, that I can get me a baby and it'll go back to him. And so just I just think it just seems like it oversteps so much that, like, yes, Florida and that region has some issues that started, decades ago for it. And people haven't made some people have done bad things for the community and put it in the wrong spotlight. But at the same time, like, that doesn't speak for everybody. Like,
But we're also
people.
not talking about the roads that are getting built through Everglades.
Yep.
We're talking about the feral cats that are
Yeah.
in
No. Definitely. No,
Florida.
I mean, it's the same. I can kind of compare it when I'm talking to friends that don't really know too much about reptiles, but it's the when people get on their when they talk about the Second Amendment and your right to bear arms. Like, it's that same kind of, for us, it's our right to have our reptiles that are kept responsibly and safe and stuff like that. Like, people get up in arms, and you see it all over the place when gun laws and things like this are changing. And like, you see maybe a small group of people or a little bit here and there when reptile stuff happens, or like there was a huge push on the what is it, the America's Compete was, I think, what it was called. But it's kind of faded a little bit. Like the drive and the push for it has kind of faded off from that. And it worked out well that, it was Arlington that took place, and then it was Tinley just a few weeks later, so it pushed it really hard. But it was like, it's like your stock market going up and it's closing here, it peaked, but then it's closing. How do we keep it and sustain it and make it an active culture of what we have going on, and what we're doing to keep that precedence up? Because maybe I need to go to an NAR meeting or something like that. Like, how do I help motivate reptile keepers to get on this level that you guys are at, to, hey, like, you're not taking these from me. Like, this is, I'm going to be respectful, and I'm going to keep all these things, and I'm going to show you why and lay it out, like, why this is great for society and me as a person, our community. Going somewhere, Tortoise? And so what benefits it has. Like, you're only hurting people by limiting and doing stuff like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, right now I'm actually working to the point because of what I'm wanting to do with Atlas, and I know that there's a lot of rules and regulations here in Kansas that
Mm-hmm.
will go against that. And so
Yep. No.
I want to go into because I know the home office is in Topeka. I want to go sit in there, see if I can try to get some sort of communication so we can. I want to get on the same page with the people. I don't want to break the rules, but I also want to show them that, like, hey, I'm wanting to do this not because of some personal gain. I want to do this to help out everybody.
Yeah. No. Definitely.
And so, like, I'm wanting to take, because, like, for me, I want to have in our building, I want to have every single species of like our venomous here in Kansas. So.
Oh yeah. No. That's cool. That's a connecting point. Like,
Right.
that's very, yeah.
And so, like, for me, I want people to be able to walk in, because so many people mistake, say, water snakes and cottonmouths, or just any snake that has any kind of orange to it. Oh, it's a cottonmouth.
Yep. No, I'll get 3 or 4 messages through the summer, like, just random somebody sending me a message. Hey, we saw this snake in our backyard, or we saw this at the lake, or whatever.
Right. I want people to be able to see them and know, oh, this is what this is.
Mm-hmm.
Because at all of our shows, I always tell the kids, I'm like, if you don't know what a snake looks like, leave it alone.
Yep. No, it's that I literally open with that. Like, it's reptiles, yada yada yada. The biggest, is it gonna bite me? No, well, everything has a mouth. Everything I take with me is is well adjudicated to this type of environment. And then just me understanding the behavior, and you follow in the proper ways to hold something. Um, but then, but like if you have reptiles or you're out like camping or the lake or whatever, let reptiles be. Like check them out from a distance. If you're not too sure what, just check it out from a distance. Enjoy its beauty from there. You're 4 foot, 3 foot, 6 foot, 5 foot. It's not gonna try to do anything to you. You're a giant predator to it. If you miss with it, it's gonna hang out and try to like put up a fight, and so that's when you're gonna like get yourself hurt. Just let it be, enjoy it, and then walk away or what like. And so,
Unlikely it's going to run away, like try to get away from you
yeah,
more than they're going to, especially venomous. Like venomous, that's what something I try to teach people when I have more of like a one-on-one conversation with them is that like the venomous snakes that we have, or just in general, like they make their venom. So that's something that they have to go through energy. They have to go through process. They don't want to waste it on something that's not going to help them in any way.
right, yeah, no, it's a their body has a process that they're doing. It's not like it's this, oh hey, we're ready. We have 900 cc's just ready to go at every moment here. Like,
Right. So it's like once they release it, they that means they can't eat. Like if they release it on you, that means they can't eat.
yeah, no,
So
definitely. It's yeah,
they're
no,
not
because you have
going.
to like people that keep venomous snakes that use it for like milking for anti venoms and things like that. Like, I mean, it wouldn't be such a long process if it was just turn the faucet on and let it go. Like, yeah, no, that's a very good point that you bring up and have there. Like, I like that.
Yeah, and that's one biggest thing is just because I know venomous, like, there's so many, like, that's the biggest attack. And, like, right now, like, copperheads, their venom is being used for cancer research.
Yep.
And other venomous snakes are being used for research in medicine.
Advances in the medical field are very have some key thing factors playing into that. Like, they're
Exactly. And so, like, if we need these medicines, if you want to take these medicines, and they have that in there, then what happens if we kill them all because we don't like them? That means that medicine no longer exists.
that just reminds me of that stupid meme that's no only good snake's a dead snake or whatever. And
That was
like,
the biggest, a huge, like I hear it so many times, and I like cringe at the word. I'm like,
yeah,
no, it's actually there's so many good snakes. Like
yeah,
every snake is a good snake.
you see possums, like people always like are worried about possums, but possums don't carry rabies or anything like
Right.
that. they they're
You can
they
trade
eat a
people.
lot of ticks. They're good for the environment and stuff like that, but people, yeah, possums are maybe not the prettiest thing on the face of the planet, but they serve a great purpose.
Right.
And many of your snakes and like are that they're serving a purpose. Like your black rat snake, like that thing, like let it be. Like,
That thing is keeping venomous snakes away from your house.
yeah, like you see it on your property, like, oh cool, awesome. Like,
There's a reason it's there. It's either
yeah,
you either got rats or mice around you, or you got venomous snakes around you. Either way, they're both nuisances to your house. So
exactly.
just let the rat snake be itself. It's not gonna fuck with you, and just let it be.
Yeah, no, 100% agree.
And so yeah, that's we want to at least. I know it's harder for adults to kind of change their thinking when it comes to
No,
animals.
it's definitely like adult, like it's changing your thinking or changing your behavior. Um, it's a process, it's a commitment, like especially when you get to like our age, and like so trying to instill it in the youth, or the younger generations and stuff like that, or people just getting into the hobby, that creating those good habits. Because even if it's eating right, like that's having a good habit and setting good examples and doing that over and over and over again. Like, I think the old saying was like it takes like 21 days or something like that for a habit to be, or for something to become like a natural habit or something like that. But still, sometimes like that's, you can still break those bonds and break that thing. So yeah.
Absolutely. But yeah, like that's it's just something big that I like to do because like I said, it's really hard to change ideas and mindsets for adults, but with kids, they're more open, they're more interested in these animals, and so if we can try to like influence them, but then also like they can help influence their parents, um, and it gives them because I've seen so many parents who their kids are like really interested in it, and so they give into their kids, and they're like, okay, yeah, we can go do it, and then they start to learn, and then they're like, oh, these things are actually really cool.
I love that.
Um,
I love that. Like I had two different instances. I did a birthday party. Someone got really interested. And then they wanted their children wanted a leopard gecko. So I was like, I have some. Here's what I have available right now. If these don't stand out to you, here's a couple different options for places, people locally that you could reach out to. And then when we did our Boy Scouts thing, so I was literally still packing up, putting stuff in my car from finishing up there. I sat down in my car to drive home, and I already had an email from somebody going to our website. I was like, "Hey, my son was at, me and my son were at the Boy Scouts event tonight, and we want to know how we can become more engaged with reptiles in the community and stuff like that." Like, right there, like that, doing that hour and a half, whatever presentation I did, I enjoyed that part, but that part like gave me like legit goosebumps, like just that quick reaction for somebody to go and realize that their child enjoyed it, or their child sharing with their mom and dad that they enjoyed that, and me presenting different options around the city, different things of that nature, for them to be a part of, different YouTube videos to watch, from state discovery to Barcheck to Camp Kennan to just all different things out there that they can enjoy from a distance and just learn and soak it all up and stuff like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So, uh, you have for your end goal for your business. What do you think is that going to look like?
We're never stopping. No, it's playing.
I mean, it's good to always evolve, but as of right now,
No,
I'd
no,
say
exactly. No, you have to evolve. Like you can't be stagnant. I don't think the world, you can be stagnant in how our world goes today. Like,
absolutely things change all the time.
yeah, no, you have to be able to change. You have to be flexible. Let's see. So where, like, in game, okay, so like perfect picture, perfect world. I'm gonna go play the lottery when we get off here. I'm gonna hit the jackpot. Uh, and then like I just want to be able to reach out and see just the people that I've influenced, and seeing their engagement with reptiles, and how it's, whether they were just a little bit, or whether they got back into it because they talked to me for a bit, or they're taking this adventure as a family, or they're, hey, we're buying this because we want to breed bearded dragons later, or we want to do this later, or we or our son or our daughter really enjoy this. So just building that community of people that that know EpicStyle, and see us as like as their friends, or like their, where they started, for that passion, or where they kind of took off for them. I always love seeing repeat customers, or people that are walking around the show that like, oh, hey, we bought our bearded dragon, and getting like updated pictures of them. It's really cool. It's really neat. It means a lot. And seeing everybody's different setup and enclosure. And so far I haven't been hit with the bug of like, oh, I should have kept that one. That's the one I should have kept and not sold. So knock on wood that doesn't happen yet, But I would love to open up a storefront, or have a place where people can come and I can do their birthday parties there. Cause like, I get it. It's not always fun, like picking up your house, because you never feel your house is clean enough when you're having a birthday party and things like. I have two kids, and holidays, all this stuff. When people come over, you're always doing some last minute cleaning to make sure everything's perfect. And so it would be great to have just a space available where I can keep some of my animals there. You can come and do a party there, an event there, and then just slowly grow that into, there's enclosures there, and there's this, and doing expanding, going to different shows, and just kind of networking. Like this year, I'm going to be set up at Tinley in the fall, and also going to be set up at Arlington. So really, really excited about that. As a family, we're taking our family vacation is going to be, we're going to go to Daytona, the Daytona show down there in August, the third week of August. So I'm really bad at getting videos and pictures. I'll maybe do like a Facebook Live, but I just get so soaked up in the moment that I always forget it until the end. I'm like, oh, I didn't grab any pictures. So gonna do that. Next year, I want to head out to Pomona and check out the show out there. Almost went this year. I should have bought tickets like 2 weeks beforehand, and I probably could have got away with it because they were like, round trip was like $200. And then it looked like a week later and it was like $600. Like, that's not happening. But I just want to keep growing and do it organically and just meet people like you, Seth, that have that same passion and drive. And I already have a lot of those. I have a lot of great friends that I've met through this. Just a couple few shout outs just to Simon T. Reptiles. He's one of my great friends of mine that I bounce ideas and questions off to him. SRS Exotics, Sean and Rachel, they're a great group. 12 Mile Reptile, Brandon, he's another great guy of mine. I mentioned Connor earlier with Reptizilla. He's really, I can bounce a Leachianus question off of him. And I appreciate him from not being shy to answer my questions and help me out on my breeding journey. Then that's one of the big things that I want to give back, because it's like I said earlier, people focus on trying to, I want to be the best. I want to be the best. But I want to be the best at that I can be. But I want you to also be your best, and you also enjoy that journey and have that same passion and drive. But it's, I don't know where this ride's going to take. I wake up every day blessed that I have my family that enjoys this and allows me to do it. And ever since we started doing shows last June, so we're coming up, we're closing our first year out for being an official LLC. Been around the hobby a lot. But without them, this isn't possible. Some things that we've done to grow our business in that. But without that, it's really hard to have that good close support system. And it's something like one day I hope it's like my kids want to carry this. I can leave this to them, and it's not like a burden. It's something that's, rich and thriving and doing well, that it's something that they can take on and enjoy from them. And anybody starting in it, find you a group of people that you can grow with there, but then also find you some people that have been doing it for a while that you can have open conversations with and be real with. I would say another person of that aspect, I've already said Jason with Cold Blooded. He's been an integral part of me understanding, like, being business savvy and kind of understanding how kind of things operate, kind of things go in that fashion. Another great friend of mine are Zach and Rose. They do their reptile cages. They're based out of Minnesota. Their lead time's like 4 weeks or something. Like, it's crazy. They like knock it out of the park. That's another big little company that I love and enjoy, and like I bounce things off of them all the time, and they're always, I'll drop them a message and they'll get back to me, and when they have a second, to answer those. And so it's just that care and that appreciation when you find that group of people that can really hold you accountable and make sure that you're heading in the right direction, and kind of like they're there for your low moments too. Like, it's not it. Every day is not exciting. Like, if you go back to my Instagram, I think my 2 days ago, I found a Chihuahua gecko. I didn't see the crack in the egg. And usually I'll try to help assist it, like wiggle it, smooth it out or whatever. And I didn't see it, and I opened it up and I saw a little mucus coming out of it and stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I went and opened it up, and I think it drowned in the egg. A friend of mine said it looked like maybe it had passed on because there was still a lot of yolk there, but it was all closed up underneath and stuff. So I just think it kind of struggled a little bit getting out. And so it sucked. Like, it looked really nice. It was really cool. I've only hatched a few of those out. And so But no, it's there's some bad days. Everybody has bad days. There's bad days that happen, but you gotta pick them up and keep going. Sorry, that got a little long-winded.
No, you're good. I totally agree. We just have to be like, especially as a community, we have to be there to support when there are bad times.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
And we just want to be able to be there to pick them up and be like, hey, here's some help to go forward, and let's like knock it out of the park. Like that's the best type of instead of pushing people down, like, oh, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong.
Yes.
These are the things that I found. If you would like to use them, I think they would might be able to help you.
Say one more time. Won't say it one more time. Don't push people down. Give advice, and that's Facebook groups are great, but Facebook groups are also like the devil. I feel like somebody sees someone's cage and it's not exactly right, or like I don't get why everybody's in a rush to be the first one to be like, you're a fool, or you're like the poor animal. Yes, okay, like show some. Obviously, they're not doing things right. You attacking them is not going to help them.
No.
Just share positivity and how if there's some way that you can help them out, offer that type of help. Like if you don't have anything good to say, just the old adage, if you don't have anything to say, don't say it. Like there's no need for all the negativity and stuff like that. And that happens. It happens a lot, sadly. Like, but and that goes like to the feeding videos and things like that. Like we all know how a snake eats. We all know what a snake. If you have a group of people, share it in a group of your friends or something. Like don't post that. That goes back to the whole USARK and people like there's some reptile groups that you go to post in it and I see it's public. Like so if you post any feeding videos in there, anybody on Facebook can go and find that video because it's not a private group on some, just depending on how the group's set up and stuff like that. Or just sharing it on your purse. Like I don't have any. I think I have one of like a snake like wrapped up like eating it, but I don't have any videos of on my thing of a snake. It just doesn't. It's not going to trigger the people that come across my page organically. I don't think it's going to trigger them in the positive way. Whereas everybody in the reptile community knows how a snake eats, and sometimes it can be a little exciting or a little interesting, but I mean, it's got to eat. So. And sometimes it just doesn't portray us in the right way, and so
I agree. So yeah, I think that's the best way is instead of taking people down, is we should always just try to be lifting people up.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you there, man. Like, no, definitely 100. Like, lift them up as much as you can.
Absolutely. All right, man. Well, it's been a blast.
Oh no, definitely. Sorry I took up so much of your time. Sorry I was a little late getting on here.
Oh, no, you're good, man.
It was definitely fun being on here. This is the first time I'd done a podcast and stuff like that. So I was pretty excited for it. And thanks for when you stopped by the show and I was like, oh, hey, can I help you or whatever and stuff like that. And you're like, actually, I'm here to see you. I'm like, what? My face? Like, what we got going on here? like my smile was like so big and I was like, oh, this is cool. And then we talked for a bit and like I was like, okay, I've seen your posts and like what you're doing. And like I said, like if you ever have any questions at any time, reach out, don't hesitate or whatever. Need some pointers or whatever. And I'm gonna do the same. Hey, what would you do in this situation or whatever? And then maybe sometime we can go hit a show together somewhere, whether it be like a bigger show nationally or whatever, just go hang out and walk around or whatever. But no, definitely we should do this again sometime, like down the road, just to catch up and follow up on things or whatever. Maybe we can get more people included and have like a little powwow and stuff or whatever. So
right, I might do a year thing where like I could have like my first 5 people that I got on. So like you, Steve, Nick, everybody like that, and just get everybody on and kind of have just a big group, and we can just talk or shoot the shit or whatever.
Yeah, no doubt. It's fun. It's like sometimes like I haven't talked to Kano in a little bit, but I mean he's like every time I see him, I make sure I give him a big hug. We catch up and stuff like that. I'll go check on his page when I'm on Instagram or Facebook and stuff, just to like when I get a place, he's coming and building me
Pond.
like a lazy river pond water fountain thing that he has set up, and so he has a special place in my heart for sure. But there's a lot, like I didn't mention him earlier when I was going through things, but there's so many people that I've been blessed to be able to meet and reach out to, or that like, and I just hope that when people have an interaction with me, that they have that same type of feeling and that positive vibe that I get from people that I like look up to or meet or have become friends with, that they kind of have that same, I give them that same thing in return, that they can feel positive and all that stuff. So
Absolutely. Well, go ahead and shout out all your Instagram and anything like that.
Yeah, no. So you can find us on Facebook at EpicStyle LLC. That's the same on Instagram, EpicStyle LLC. We do have a Snapchat. It's EpicStyle LLC. Why not reptiles? And then our website. I try to make sure the store is updated with reptiles. That's the hardest thing, because I want to make sure I have good pictures of them and taking down what's from the show. But our website's whynotreptiles.com. I mean, who wouldn't want a reptile? Come on now. Pretty simple, straightforward. But we're out, Facebook, Instagram, and our website, Snapchat. And I try to put, I go through good posting sections where I post a lot on Instagram. And then the last 2 weeks, I've been kind of busy getting things rolling back for shows and stuff like that. So I take pictures. I just don't get them posted in time, and try to understand the whole algorithm thing, so things pop up a little better. But we got we got a show next week in Iowa. What's this? So this is the 27th today. So April 3rd, I think, that April 2nd or whatever. I don't know. Next weekend, be in Iowa, and then we'll be in Omaha, and then off for a couple weeks, and then we're gonna hit Colorado Springs, Kansas City, and Minnesota. So May is going to be a big month. If you happen to check this out and see us, give us a follow, and let me know that you found us through Atlas Education with Seth. So appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. Go check them out, and of course, go check us out pretty much every social media. We got Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We're on Spotify.
Ooh, you got TikTok? Look at you. I need to step my game up. See, I'm old. I don't have that.
On Spotify, so this podcast here will be on Spotify. And all of our links will be in the description. Also, we'll get your links, so we'll get all of them in the description.
Right on. I appreciate it.
Yep. And so please go check him out if you're interested. If you're in the Kansas City area and are looking for a party or any kind of event when it comes to reptiles, please go check him out. He's going to do a great job for you guys. Other than that, thanks, man. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. I love it. Like you said, if you're in the Kansas City, also check out Seth. He has some great party stuff that he can do for you as well. Maybe you could book us both, and we could have fun and do like a collab party together. So once again, I want to say thanks for having us on, and then look forward to seeing you again in the show. And have a great day, great weekend, and nothing but success, brother. So keep it rolling.